I used a laser to make a little wooden guy for my friend. So my friends and I are all deeply into the game Final Fantasy XIV, so of course we each have our own little player character that we were all deeply obsessed with. I decided to use a laser cutter to make a wee wooden standee of my friend's character. I started with some roughs in my sketchbook, then I tossed that into Procreate and just drew right on top of it. So in red, I have my cut lines, which is where the laser is going to physically cut completely through the wood. And in black, I have my lines, which are going to be engraved by the laser. Then I have a third layer in gray where I'm imagining a light second pass of engraving. Also, I tried playing with some dithering, or I guess I should say halftones, on the layer of black. I clicked on halftone under the adjustments drop-down menu. Then I used the settings screen print and turned it to literally just 1%. Then I brought each of these layers into Inkscape because I decided I needed to vectorize all my layers, which I did not need to, because actually the laser cutter can only cut with vector, but it can engrave with both vector and raster information. But anyways, I used the trace bitmap tool under the object drop-down menu, and I vectorized everything. And the halftones kind of were messed up by the vectorization, so another reason to maybe try it in raster next time. But finally, we get to the actual laser. It's actually engraving. This is always so satisfying for me to watch. The gray fill layer turned out kind of bad because parts of his legs were engraved twice. You know, one time when I passed in the black layer and then again when I passed in the gray layer. And it just doesn't look good. So because I was on a deadline, I ended up just engraving the black layer for my final standee because it really did look quite good on its own. And then we get to the base, which was the trickiest part of this whole project. So my wooden sheet was 1/8 of an inch thick, so I knew I needed the rectangular hole in the base to be a tiny bit larger than 1/8 of an inch. But wow, it took a lot of trial and error. But eventually I did end up with many, many cute little Final Fantasy Lalafell standees because I had so many different prototypes. So pro tip, prototype in cardboard first, guys. But aren't they so cute? I really would like to revisit this project sometime, especially now that I have learned so much more about how to do this process effectively and efficiently. And I just have a lot more characters to make standees of.